Yeah, I turned off MSI. All right, so as you can see, the monitors are now both black, and then the PC.
The video you just saw is from a viewer with a very broken gaming PC, as you could see there. This is the system, and ultimately what happens is that while gaming, and just abruptly, the screens will turn black and the fans in the rig will ramp up to what seems like full RPM, and he won't be able to do anything else with the PC unless he resets it and starts over, only to have the problem happen over and over again. So essentially what we have here is a gaming PC that cannot play games for longer than, what, 5 or 10 minutes? That's how long the viewer says it takes for the system to completely crap the bed, which is what you, again, saw just now. I don't usually show footage from viewer submissions in these videos just because, you know, if it's a PC that doesn't turn on, what good is a video gonna do for me, right? It doesn't help me narrow down the culprit. But here, because he was saying that his system would, you know, be running fine for a little while and all of a sudden cut to black screens and the fans would ramp up, I wanted evidence beforehand because I wanted to kind of rule out it being something that I wasn't sure I would be able to fix quickly here in the office. I try to move as quickly as possible through these inquiries so that we can get as many PCs fixed as possible. And seeing as though we don't charge for these services, I'm kind of at the, I'm in a position where I can kind of handpick the ones that I want to fix. And this one I was hesitant about because of the symptom. But after seeing the video, I had a pretty good idea of what was going on. I think something is overheating, and if something's not overheating, there's possibly a power delivery issue. I think the fans that we're hearing ramp up are coming from the graphics card. I don't think the power supply fan would get that loud, but there are 3 smaller fans in here, and I think that's what we're hearing. So it's possible that this RTX, what I think it's a 3080, might need to be replaced. It's a newer card. It was only purchased a few months ago, so it's not one that I want to take apart. I don't want to risk voiding any warranty or return authorization he could get with Micro Center, because that's where he purchased these components. Maybe we can reach out to Micro Center directly and see if they can send us a replacement card if it needs to be replaced. But I do think that the sound we're hearing is coming from this. So with that video in mind, I'm going to try my best to narrow down the issue, and we're going to try to fix it. I'm not sure if we can, but worth a shot, right? Stay with me. To get rid of that annoying Windows activation watermark, head on over to VIP SCD Key and purchase a Windows 10 Pro OEM key for a fraction of the price of retail. Just use a secure payment method like PayPal, enter your product key into your PC settings window, and say bye-bye to the watermark. And be sure to use our offer code SKGS for a sweet discount. Hey there, my name's Greg, and this is the Fix or Flop playlist. I'm not going to run through the typical spiel. If you have a broken system and you live in or around Orlando, Florida, and you want a chance to have it fixed for free here on the channel, because we charge nothing for these services, then submit a form linked in the video description. Let's get straight into the troubleshooting. I'm going to go ahead and power this on and show you guys, or attempt to show you, what happens. This is going to be presumably a bit difficult to replicate. We'll try our best. So right away, we've got the system powered on. You can see it post, no problem. I don't hear any issues, no clipping fans or anything of the sort there. Power supply fan is spinning. Graphics card fans are all spinning. They might have a 0-stop function, no worries if we're not under load. All case fans are spinning, including the 3 up front for the 360mm Corsair AIO. Looks like a healthy system as is. So, yeah. Let's try right away attempting to replicate the power off, or the screen off thing that we saw. So I'm going to open up IDA64 Engineer. See, I've already installed that just in preparation for this here. And I'm going to put both the GPU and the CPU, including the FPU cache, as well as system memory, under a sustained load. And we're going to see if anything happens.
2 hours later.
Fast forwarding just a bit, I'm only doing this because this involves a lot of long-term testing to try to narrow down the issue. This is why I don't usually take these kinds of problems on in the Fix or Flop playlist. Nonetheless, IDA64 revealed nothing wrong with either of the primary components we were testing here. Well, actually 3, including system memory. Temperatures all looked fine. Occasionally the CPU temp would spike to mid-80s and then back down again to upper 70s, which is perfectly fine for a chip like this. And same goes for the GPU, I noticed that the GPU memory is, it's a tad toasty, but it's, again, nothing out of the ordinary. That said, IDA64 doesn't traditionally bestow a very heavy load on especially the graphics card. So the next thing I want to try, since we couldn't get the system to behave the way we're looking for here, I'm going to try opening up the Heaven benchmark, which should stress just the graphics card. And this will be a pretty heavy test. If we don't get an issue there, then it's likely the CPU or possibly the power supply that is cutting out on us mid-game. I'm just going to let this run through. Again, my suspicion is that it's the graphics card because of the fans ramping up the way we heard. It's a more high-pitched sound. You get that from smaller diameter fans, and so that's, it's getting loud. Kind of all of a sudden. That was pretty quick. Temperatures are only at 60, 63, 64 C. I expect that'll hit mid-70s by the time the card fully warms up. We also have the left side panel off, and this isn't really indicative of real-world performance, so we should probably put that on. That said, if we're getting the symptom with the side panel off, it just did it. Holy cow. That is definitely the graphics card. These case fans are at normal RPM. Not sure if the lav mic is picking that up, but it's quite loud, very high pitch, just like we saw in the video. Yeah, it's coming from the card, and it is just pumping out air. That is, that's really something. What's strange, though, is that the GPU temps were not very high at all. It's a tough one. All right, let's reset the system and focus a bit more now on the graphics card, because I definitely think this is where our attention needs to be. You know, it's strange because at idle, the system seems fine, and I've left this at idle, actually before I started filming, for well over an hour. No issues at all, so it only happens when the graphics card in particular is under pretty heavy load. Again, with the Heaven benchmark, we got results in literally seconds, which was pretty shocking. The card didn't even have enough time to warm up. So there's either some sort of manufacturer defect here, or maybe there's a driver issue. I'm going to go through software. I'm even going to go so far as to update the BIOS, make sure that this isn't something we could very quickly fix with a fast flash. And then what we can also do is monitor memory temps. I notice those were a tad high. We'll check usages as well and see if we come across anything that could point us in the right direction here. I'm tempted just to swap the card out, and I'm fairly certain that would fix the problem. But obviously, you know, this being a newish card, that's going to set this this owner back a few weeks with regards to RMAing. So I'm going to do my best here to avoid that necessity. Right ahead in GeForce Experience, I noticed that we are not on the latest graphics driver. Now, I haven't seen older drivers cause the issue we're seeing in this 3080. That was weird. The screen just cut out, went back to the way it was before. There's probably something physically wrong with this. I'm going to update the driver anyway and then just run the test again to be on the safe side. Now, while I'm waiting for a lot of this stuff to install or be updated, I noticed that his M.2 is not installed correctly. We'll take care of that right now. So you can see the M.2 is slammed right against the motherboard, and that's not how it's supposed to be. You're actually supposed to wedge it between this Phillips screw and this standoff here. So he's actually got the standoff acting as the screw that holds everything down. So this will be a quick fix, but just to be on the safe side, we'll take care of this for him. I've gone ahead and removed his graphics card. This here is an XLR8, which is a division of P&Y, RTX 3080 10 gig graphics card. I went ahead and ran the Heaven benchmark again after updating NVIDIA drivers, and we got the exact same result. So I'm going to swap this card for a 3080 of mine. I think I have a 3080, I might have a 3070. But we can just, you know, slot it in. The drivers are pretty much the same for these cards. And then we're going to run the same Heaven benchmark test and see if we can replicate the black screen. If we can't, then we know we've narrowed it down at least to this graphics card. And I'm not entirely sure if I want to open this up, because it does have the warranty seals. I know that technically least in most countries that I'm aware of, removing these stickers shouldn't actually void the warranty. That's not something that the manufacturer can do. But I don't want to ruin any chance that the owner has here of returning this thing to Micro Center or wherever he bought it. So the card we're swapping with his is my Gigabyte RTX 3080 Gaming OC, I think is what this is. Yes, another 10 gig card, of course, and I'm expecting this thing to run just fine. I've tested this in the past. I know that it works. I also know that it runs very cool. So we'll see what heaven throws our way. In she goes. This is also a beefy card like his. And thankfully, we still only need 2 8-pins. And after running for several minutes, I think it's safe to say that, yeah, my 3080 is fine. His is not. So I've been in talks with the owner of the system. I basically told him, point blank, it's the graphics card. I swapped yours with mine. Mine works fine, and I'm actually even tempted to put this in my own rig just to make sure that it's the card and not something else. Although these two have the exact same TDPs, more or less, and are in the exact same systems. We can do that just to triple check. But anyway, I told him that, you know, at this point, it being the card, he'll probably just want to reach back out to Micro Center and get it swapped out, especially if it's going to be something that they'll cover. I don't know what Micro Center's return policy is. If it's not 6 months or longer, which it might not be if you didn't buy a protection plan, then what he can do is RMA it with the manufacturer. This being an XLR8 card, he'll go through PNY. I do have contacts at PNY, and because of that, and because of the fact that RMAs usually take several weeks, I told him that I can still take it apart for him just to make sure, just to be on the safe side that it's nothing we can't fix here. Especially if he's missing, let's say, thermal pads for the memory chips. I can't even get this card to stay on long enough to even, like, monitor temperatures. I mean, when I connect this and I run Heaven, it turns off in like 10 seconds. And by then, there's not enough time for temperatures to really ramp up anyway. So unless there's some random spike, or maybe there's an issue with power delivery, you know, there's really nothing else to go off of here. So just as a last ditch effort, I'm gonna try taking it apart. And again, I don't think PNY is gonna have a problem with that. They shouldn't anyway, because we've already proven here on video that the card is bad. So let's dive into it. I think this is the last thing we're going to do here. I'm not going to replace the card because, again, he can RMA it. It is under warranty, and this is one of the very few 3080s I have. Holy crap, oh, this thing's hot. It's been running for like 30 minutes now. Go ahead and turn this off. But yeah, once we're ready to go here.
How do you get out of Heaven?
Doing this inverted, so it's a little awkward. Yep. There we go. So let's take this apart, shall we? We don't really need to mess around at all with the cooler. Again, we saw that the fans were spinning and they were ramping up just slightly. They only had, like, again, a few seconds to do so as the GPU and the memory was heating up. So I know that they function. I don't really want to, again, dive deeper than we need to here. I think this is just going to be a board-related issue. So let's get these screws out. See here, a couple more Phillips screws. And wow, there's like no slack in these at all. Okie doke. Disconnecting from this side. So it looks like every memory chip here was making contact with a thermal pad, which lines up with what we were seeing in IDA64. Temperatures were not out of control. Yeah, this is a very dense board. There's a lot that could go wrong. Let's see if we can separate. There we go. The back plate. Set that aside. Oh boy. I'm going over here as many SMDs as possible, just looking for any obvious physical issues. So far though, I don't see any. You know, if this was a short somewhere, then I don't expect the card would work at all. The fact that it does when it's under load, maybe there's some sort of stress, some minor expansion in some of these connections here, and it's maybe shorting at that point. That would explain why it doesn't happen at idle, but when something around the GPU gets hot, that is where I'm expecting to find an issue. Gotta be honest though, everything looks pretty darn good so far. I'm gonna give us a quick spray here of isopropyl alcohol, clean things up around the die, and I guess the most we can do at this point is just repaste everywhere that we can. There's a lot of excess paste around this chip. But so far, Big Daddy Geo 102 here is looking really clean, and I don't see any issues with the tiny SMDs around the die. So yeah, I was hoping we would see something pretty obvious, but at this point I think our best bet, just to play it safe, because I'm not the most savvy when it comes to actual board repair, is go through the manufacturer. So we'll have them reach out to PNY, and hopefully we can get a replacement for them sooner rather than later. I went ahead and cleaned up the thermal pad residue atop the memory chips here surrounding the GPU itself, as well as the MOSFETs, thermal pads pretty much everywhere. It looks like it's designed well. I noticed at the back things were pretty clean as well. There's also thermal pads at the back here, so the back plate is kind of functional, which is cool. You know, every IAB is going to have a slightly different board design, with the exception of those that use the reference model. I'm not even sure if a reference model exists for these. I know that the NVIDIA cards aren't referenced. They're Founders Edition, and they're shaped very oddly, very dense cards. So we'll put this back together and just triple check that what we did here cleaning things up didn't fix anything, and we'll have to call it. Let's see, I've been letting the benchmark run for a little over a minute now. Not too bad. Just gonna see if I can get it cutting out on camera, assuming it will, because again, we didn't really change anything, except for the thermal paste, I suppose. I think it's gonna happen any second now. Can hear things getting pretty loud. Let's see, what's our temperature? 74, 75 C. Still nothing abnormal. Let's see, I'm gonna task manage out of this just to check temperatures. Motherboard. Oh no, that's GPU memory. Okay, I was about to say. So GPU memory is getting pretty hot. I'm not super confident in what's going on here. It still could be an overheating issue. Maybe there's just an issue with the thermal pads. But I'm kind of surprised it hasn't cut off yet, to be honest. Okay, it's been a few more minutes and it still hasn't turned off. I'm slightly confused. Now you'll notice I actually have the backplate removed this time around, and yeah, still going strong. A few minutes later, there's no way this is causing the problem. There can't be. And don't get me wrong, this thing is cranking out some heat. It is definitely working hard here. I'm really surprised that it's still going. Yeah, this is kind of weird. So, yeah, look, this one's been topsy-turvy. I know, I'm sorry. I don't really have a way of preventing that when it comes to just random issues like this. The video was super helpful. It helped me kind of hone in on the graphics card. And I really didn't expect just repasting the GPU and reseating thermal pads to fix this. But it does look like it did for some reason. The PCIe supplemental power connections were fine beforehand. We checked that. I don't really know what else it could be apart from maybe a bad overclock. Now, I don't see any overclocking software on here apart from MSI Afterburner, but what I've done just to be on the safe side, I don't think it was needed, but I'm just doing it just to be, again, just to have that extra peace of mind. I've underclocked his GPU by about 100, 150 megahertz, and I've done the exact same thing for the memory. We're at what, 230, 240-ish FPS here, and they have a benchmark 1080p. You know, we're talking about an inconsequential amount of frames per second. You aren't likely to notice any difference at all there, accounting for that small frequency delta for the GPU and memory. But I did it just because I don't want this graphics card crapping out on him in the middle of like maybe a streaming session or just, you know, gaming with friends, whatever. It's the worst experience to have when hardware continues to fail you over and over again. You can't make any progress in any game at all. So if the frequency was to blame, which it very well could be, doing a bit of research there, and actually in my own personal experience, if you do have a bad graphics card overclock, it would be the GPU or the memory, what could happen is the screen just cuts to black and the fans ramp up to max speed. In hindsight, I should have probably seen that coming, but then again, all we did to actually fix it was just repaste, and we didn't have temperature issues beforehand. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but you can see that the card's running fine now. And I suppose that's where we can leave it for now. What I will probably do, because I trust this person, he actually disclosed some very, very exciting information about a potential job opportunity coming up. I might lend him my 3080 while he RMAs this one, and then he can give that one back once he gets his new card. That's something I'm fine doing with this person. And that way he doesn't have to have any downtime. He can immediately start working again with his rig. He needs this rig for that job opportunity coming up. So I don't want there to be any downtime there. We might do that. But for now, it looks like this is okay again. Maybe there were just some tolerances, some issues there with the way the graphics card was assembled, and reassembling it, repasting, fixed that. Doubt it, but who really knows? A bit finicky, this one. The good thing is it's working, and it's standing up to the test for sure. It already would have crapped its pants if it was going to. So that's good news. It's been again, over an hour. Crossing my fingers it stays that way. With that, thanks so much for watching this far into this one. I really wish I had more to tell you, more to show you. Sometimes tech can just be finicky. Usually we can pinpoint the problem, and I highly doubt that repasting alone fixed this. But I think that underclocking, that kind of preventative maintenance step, was the wise thing to do here, just for the sake of trying to avoid future calamity, especially if streaming is involved or something similar to that. I suppose that the one good thing that came from this, apart from the system working again, at least for now, is that the owner now knows that the graphics card is the thing that will need to be replaced should it come to that. So mission accomplished there. Consider giving this one a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. That would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you have not already. And remember that if you have a broken system and you live in or around Orlando, Florida, you have a chance to have it fixed for free here on the channel. Just submit a link in this video's description. Send us your photos, send us your info about why the rig isn't working the way that it is, and we just might get to you. We have a lot of submissions. Most of them, frankly, don't even apply to what we do here. It needs to be more or less hardware related, something that we could hone in on fairly quickly here. If it's software related, infrequent blue screens of death, things like that, we just don't have the time. Software can, you can be chased down such deep rabbit holes with software. And to be fair, the hardware stuff is more camera friendly anyway. No one wants to see a screen cap 24/7. That gets old. It's not the kind of content I want to have here on the channel anyway. So again, thanks for watching this far into this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. My name is Greg. Thanks for learning with me.